Welcome to the I Am Radio TV network. Today we are pleased to present a new premiere show, Let's Get Real, with your host, Jeffrey Miller. Now get ready to go. Interactive. Well, good afternoon. How is everybody today? I am Jeffrey Miller, and I am so pleased to be here with you today. And I want to thank you for being with us today. This show is just fun. And I'll tell you, people ask me, where did you ever come up with the expression, let's get real? Well, it comes down to something really simple. Today in life, there's so much stuff going on out there that I thought, you know what? I used to call this interactive interviews because it's the I Am Radio TV network, the interactive media network. I said, we'll call it interactive interviews. And I did that for a long time. But in all honesty, Let's Get Real really speaks to that which people are about today. You're either really or not. And a lot of people say when they say, let's get real, they're saying, what is that person saying to me? Am I being false? What's going on here? So this is really what it's all about. This show is about getting real. And we have guests on this show who are exemplifying that by what they do, what they offer, and share with the world in honesty and integrity. And that's really what it's all about. So when we invite a guest onto the show, I have a great conversation with that guest pre-show, sometimes as early as a week earlier. And we talk about the what it is they do and what they offer and what they're and I'll tell you, I've talked to some fantastic people, and this lady that's on today is no exception. And I'm going to tell you a little bit about Kelli Calabrese. Kelli has been a health coach for 13 years. She also is a clinical exercise psychologist, certified nutritional specialist, lifestyle coach, and has been known as the Wellness Mompreneur. Kelli has also owned a chain of health clubs, managed corporate fitness centers, founded a school to prepare candidates to be fitness professionals, and also a top boot camp coach. Wow. She has been an editor for the fitness industry's leading magazines, has been a spokesperson for Fortune 500 companies. She has appeared on all the major networks and has had hundreds of interviews through media outlets such as this one. She is a best-selling author of the Mom and Dadpreneurs, stories, strategies, and tips for super achievers in family and business, as well as Passionistas tips and tweetables for women pursuing their dreams. She's a top achiever in network marketing company, and she's also been the CEO of a software company. She is also a member of a cast of a TV show, Success Sisters, and is getting ready to launch a new brand for women. She's originally from New York and New Jersey and now lives in a suburb of Dallas. And I'd like to welcome to the show, Kelli.
Good afternoon. Thank you for having me.
How are you this amazing day?
I can say truly outstanding. In fact, I could say the best day of my life, and that would be true.
Wow. Every day we have a best day of our life. That means yesterday was great, but today is better because now today is the best day. Looking forward to the next best moment and day, which will be tomorrow.
That's right.
Wow. You and I had an amazing talk last week, and we've known each other for some time, but we hadn't, Facebook's that kind of a thing. You get to know somebody and you share a few things once in a while, you get to say a little message on the messenger or something. But really, when I saw, and I'm going to give a shout out now because this gentleman deserves it. Wow. When I think about this, I've known this man for a number of years, and he's also a very, very good friend of mine. And you know who I'm talking about, Kyle. And Kyle got in touch with me, and he said, I have this thing going. He actually emailed me and also a message and said, I have this great thing coming up because of this crazy thing that's going on, this COVID virus, pandemic. And we've had to take a show. Ron White and myself have had to take a show off the road. It was going to be in Philadelphia. It's now going to be online. I'd love it if you'd want to join us. And I said, great. Send me the information. What is the investment? And he goes, that's the word I wanted to hear, the investment. Because when we do this type of thing, we're investing in ourselves. So Kyle, shout out to you, brother. And we went on further and said, next message was, would you like to join us in my inner circle mastermind? Well, that has opened up a plethora, as they say, of reconnections, new friends, reconnecting with old friends. And then me looking, you go, wait a minute, Kelly, you're here? And other friends of ours. So Kyle Wilson, thank you, brother. We so appreciate you. And I know Kelly feels the same. And it's a whole,
one of my favorite superhumans on the whole planet. My whole world has changed since I met Kyle Wilson.
There's no question in my mind. That is a fact to be true. I already, people say, well, geez, you've been around the circuit quite a while. I said, you're making me sound like an old racehorse that's being put out to pasture or something. But the fact is, yes, yeah, in personal, human needs development, psychology, that area, it's been well over 10 years, and an entrepreneur for many years before that, my own business since I was 17 years of age. Only worked for 3 people in my entire life, or actually say I was an employee. Not because I didn't love them, because they taught me so much that I said, I can go do this on my own now. That's when I was young, and what that word, something to do with the rooster, but they call it cocky. So, yeah, and we've had such a great time on the masterminds. Oh my goodness, with just phenomenal. So this shout out is really for that, guys. If you want to be involved in something that's absolutely over the top astronomical, and if you ever thought there was such a thing, there is. Kelly and I are both here to tell you want to get in touch with either one of us and talk about that for the future, because it is that. So anyway, that said, we had a great conversation last week, and we caught up with each other after I don't know how long, actually. And I don't know, we did meet in person one time. We did figure that out in Los Angeles, probably about 4 or 5 years ago at an event. And I think that's when we became Facebook friends, honestly. So it's interesting how it goes and how it moves on, and and things, a divine intervention at the perfect time, they say. Well, that's what this is today, ladies and gentlemen. This is that divine intervention. That is this getting into talking about what's real. All right, because so much today with Facebook, with the advent of the simple, I can write this and put it out there and somebody will believe me. It's crazy. So when you can meet somebody and work with somebody and have them help you, coach you, etc., that really, really, as I said earlier, exemplifies everything that is right and just in the message that needs to be out there, the real story. This lady's got it. Now, you just heard me read that long dissertation about all of the accomplishments. See, I can't even say the word. To say that I'm impressed, Kelly, is an understatement. You really, really, and what I know about you and through our conversation, you are so honest and sincere in all of this as well. You want to help other people. You want to see them succeed. And, we all do the things we do to help us and our family, etc. But it's the share, it's the giving that we do for other people and what we do. And Michael Port wrote a book some years ago, and it was about serving, really. And there's a message to it. And he said, think about a white towel on your arm. And when you do that, when you work with somebody and you do this, and you may not even know you do it, but you do it, you serve. You recognize that I'm here to serve, therefore I shall receive. And that is, it is beautiful. It is beautiful. We are going to talk about a lot. We're gonna get into this because I have found, as I read, and of course the books, and the one I want to show everybody right here, about the mom and dad. How long ago was that written, that book?
That was actually 3-year anniversary. Just came out of it being an Amazon bestseller. Yes, it instantly went Amazon bestseller in multiple categories. So it's been
Mom and Dadpreneurs, and you've got a copy right there. There you go. Excellent. Mom and Dadpreneurs, everybody, get that book. Order that book. That is absolutely fantastic. And I'm remiss to say my copy was supposed to be sitting right here too, because I do have, actually, there's 2 copies in this house. Emily, my wife, has one, and I have one, and we're both reading that book. when we get into it, another thing I found out, growing up in Boston myself, near Boston, Cape Cod, and I became a pilot in 1984, and I used to fly to the Jersey Shore. Okay. And the ladies there we called Jersey girls. So you were once upon a time a Jersey girl. You were actually raised a Jersey girl. I get a kick out of that. And we have some very dear friends from Jersey, and you're on that list now of people that I know that grew up in the Jersey area. And I find it so interesting when a person has achieved status and they go, no, I haven't achieved any status. Yeah, you have. You've achieved so much in your life and it isn't that you look at the word status as something that's to be looked down upon, like, well, I think I'm all that. It isn't that. You've had to raise yourself up. You've had to elevate yourself and keep moving forward through your life. And we all have that story. We all have that backstory about how did we get to where we are today. So there is a driving force behind you that has allowed you to become the super achiever that I call you today, that you feel you are. Well, I'd love to talk to you. Explain to everybody about that, please, Kelli.
Jeffrey said so many amazing things, and one of them was you talked about being a lifelong learner of personal development. So we're always looking to develop ourselves. And I feel like I have two answers to this question about the super achiever part. But when I was 17, my business partner at the time, who I still, in fact, my next very call is with him 34 years later, he handed me a set of Tony Robbins, Awaken the Power Within, the Giant.
There you go.
Personal development. And on that tape, he said, it was a tape back then, a cassette tape, we do things to move away from pain and we do things to move towards pleasure. But I figured out at 17. It was actually at 13 years old when I wrote in my diary, I will be an exercise therapist. And what I realized then was that I had a very strong family history of things I wanted to move away from: heart disease, diabetes, stroke, obesity, cancer, alcoholism. I just looked at all of that and went, ooh, I see what that does. And I want nothing to do with that. But I was also moving towards jumping, dancing, running, swimming, cheerleading, softball. I mean, any time that I could get on a bicycle and get that endorphin rush, I just loved it. And I wanted everyone to experience those happy hormones. And I knew that exercise was a part of health. So I committed my life at 13 years old. I said, I will be an exercise therapist. And so went on this journey of, what sort of became super achievement, getting 3 science degrees by the time I was 22 and, being the most decorated fitness professional with 27 certifications. And
wow.
I just kind of dug in and went fast. And the drive for me was, I am the eternal idealist. I just believe in people so much. I am just an evangelist for people's health, body, mind, and spirit. And I want everyone to wake up every single day and be well. I want them to put their feet on the ground and feel good, because we are only using a fraction of our potential. Mentally, physically, emotionally, spiritually, there's just so much more that we can tap into that we have not yet done. And I hate seeing lack. I hate seeing pain. I hate seeing people that, fall short in areas. And man, it's tough being my kids because I always want things to be better than they are. So being content with where they are, but really contending for so much more. So because of that, the knowledge was important. So I needed to not only always be learning, which I still do, but I needed to be applying. So I did it in a really, just gung-ho way that did get me, to a recognized level in my industry, where I did get to edit our magazine, not for the position, not for the title, but because there were a couple of 100,000 people reading it. And I realized that I could teach, one-on-one or one to a group, but if I could train the trainers and if I could influence the trainers and they could go out, and this was before, the internet, obviously, but they could reach, literally hundreds of thousands. So it was about influencing as many people as possible, both the consumers who wanted to be healthy, as well as the trainers who really, we didn't know how to run a business. You talked about serving,
Right. Exactly.
I wanted them to serve people well so that they came back and they had good customer service and repeat business and referrals, and they didn't know, how to be business people. They just loved helping people be well. So that's why, really got into both sides.
Well, I guess you did. And you know what? I feel like I just had an aerobic workout listening to that. Seriously. I mean, I could feel that get up and go, like, let's move it. And you exude that. That I don't even know what that word is. It's like, wow, because you have that ability to stir up that stuff in somebody to say, why are you just sitting there? Why are you just get up and get moving? And this is what you need to do. And this is how you're going to do it. And I can show you because I've been there. I've done that. So follow the leader. Don't reinvent the wheel. And I love that. That's I call that we'll use, Kyle says, the secret sauce. Kyle Wilson, here you go again. Secret sauce of success is what Kelly's talking about right now. So listen, and I got to pop this back up again. You're going to get a kick out of this. I don't know if you saw this or not. Look at that.
Hello, friend. Love Tammy Mitchell.
Yeah, we love you too, Tammy.
One of the great.
She is driving on her way back to Austin, I believe, at the moment. And it is amazing when I think about all that you just said, because when you pull it all together, it makes a lot of sense. But there's a lot of stuff there between, you're talking about from then to now almost to where you are in career. You talked to me about a word of the year, or would you call it words of the year?
Word of the year. Yep. Yes.
Tell us about that, please.
Okay, well, about 11 years ago, a dear friend of mine who has been one of my mentors told me about how he would get together with his family around the beginning of the year, and they would all really sit and consider what their word would be for the year. And that word becomes the lens that they look through for the entire year to make sure that things are lining up with that word. So for the last 11 years or so, I have been considering that myself. And my birthday is in December, so early in December is a good time to sit and think about, reflect on the last year, look at the year ahead. And my very first word was disciple. And I felt like I wanted to be discipled up in every area of my life, physically, financially, professionally, emotionally, relationally, socially, spiritually. And because let's face it, life is going to happen, and when it does, doesn't it make sense that we have the best we possibly can in every area of our life? So if something breaks, well, money's not an issue. We could probably afford to fix it. If someone gets sick, well, we've got the resources and connections to help them get well. Or, when that phone call comes, it's not like our whole life is a wreck, but things are in order so that if we're called to do or serve, like you talked about, we can, because our kids are in order, our home is in order, and so on. I won't go through all of them, but the word doesn't end when the year ends. So disciple has stayed with me. Another year was generous. And my phrase that went with that was that I would be generous on every occasion that I was led to be generous. Because sometimes you're not led. It might be a good cause, but it's not on your heart. There's no shortage of good causes. But if I felt like I was being called to give, I never wanted lack of money or any resources to stop me from giving. So that year, I actually was more generous. I had given away more money, cars, time, than I had ever given before. If you had told me at the beginning of the year that I was going to give my car away,
you never would have believed it, right?
No, it was a Mercedes. It was,
and I bet you wouldn't have done it either. If somebody had brought you up on that, you might have said, well, maybe I'm not going to do that.
I felt impressed on my heart to give that car away, and I did. And that's how I want to live, always being generous, because stuff is just flowing through me. So anyway, I've had, amazing words each year. And this year, for the start of this decade, my word for the decade is profit, because profit is two things. Profit meaning, growth, income, overflow, abundance from things. But also profit really tying into where I am spiritually, being connected to what does God want from me. So that's my word for the decade. I want there to be fruit from everything that I do. But my word for this year, and I don't make this word up. This word comes to me, and I actually lead exercises for how people can find their word. the word that I got confirmation on, because once I get it, I'll always get confirmation that it's true, was awaken. And what I have found now in these first few months of 2020, which has been an interesting few months for all of us. None of us
Yeah. Where's the rewind button?
We could not possibly have had the vision for what this year was going to look like. Awaken, I needed to awaken to what I needed to leave behind. So I needed to be awakened to where I was. And a lot was revealed to me through a lot of just search, whether it was retreats or quiet time or books or people. But I found that there were some things I needed to peel off me, things that were negative and judging and critical and enabling. And I had all these things on me that I was not really either admitting or enlightened to. And so I needed to awaken from all of that and leave it behind, because I could not bring it into this next season of my life. But I also needed to be awakened to the things I needed to become. So that is about, the fabulous new me moving forward and what I'm going to do in this next season of my life. So what does that look like when I have arrived, awakened, and who do I need to become to really be that person? So I feel like the word for the year is really valuable, and it has been for me. And it just helps me to always be evaluating, what am I doing with my time? Is this helping me to be more awakened, or is it taking me away from that? And do I, Brian Tracy, do you need to do more of this, less of this? Do you need to stop this or start this? So if you're always using that lens, it keeps you focused in a world that is so unfocused. It's just coming at us so fast, and I don't have the moments to waste to be distracted, or I prefer not to.
That's a great way to look at it. I want to go back to the word, the prophet, also prophetic in the word. Prophetic in the word meaning we have to, and this is where it comes to what you're talking about now, which is discernment. Mm-hmm. Okay. How do you discern what you're looking at right now? You went from prophet, which is prophetic, to be prophetic. And that comes into all areas of we call Christendom, right? To kingdom. Mm-hmm. And some people say, well, I don't really know if I agree with that. That's okay. That's okay. The bottom line is we do. And when you do, you will understand. So now discernment. How do you discern when you say you need to peel away the layers? How are you discerning? Are you going to an emotion for that?
Well, it has been a lot. I mean, it's just like, for you to have a relationship with anyone, mm-hmm. It takes time, it takes commitment, it takes work. You need to press in to have any good relationship. So that means for me, time in the Word, quiet time, meditation, journaling. I am so blessed to be surrounded by incredible, wise friends who give me good counsel. So if I have an impression about something, I will, get on my knees about it and really just, have time about it. And I'll wait to hear before I make a move and look to get confirmation on things. So it could come through a person, a song, a word, a scripture. I mean, there's so many different ways that you can just know that that something is right or not, And
you really hit a passion for me when you talk about that. In that, and as a coach for over 10 years, I came out of the corporate arena as an entrepreneur since I was 17, as I mentioned earlier. Worked for about 3 people, and that's about it. And I want to tell I want to tell you, there were moments during all of that where I went, who do you think you are? Who do you think you are that you've got the right stuff to be an entrepreneur, to be able to stand here and say, I don't need that regular paycheck from that company? Not that I object to anybody who does it. God bless you. I would seriously mean that, but I had to become that. And I wasn't sure where it was coming from, except for a drip feed. It's like the old coffee maker. Dun, 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 I would get a drip feed of, okay, this is good. This is right. And when I would go to the emotion and, as you say, meditate on that word, think about that word and go to it and say, does this resonate? Is it right? Is it real? Is it, is it just? and it would come back, yes, 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 then I had to move forward with it, not knowing sometimes what direction it was going to take me or what avenue I was going to go down as a result of it. So what you're saying is so profound, that the similarities there, but different between what I did and have done in my years and what you've done. And certainly you've done it. I mean, I also love what you talk about when you say, I go into my year like I did saying, I'm going to gift. A lot of people probably don't know it, but I actually, my wife Emily and I have what's going to be a not-for-profit. It's called Gift What You Need. And Gift What You Need is all about what you talked about, okay? And we're going to put things together as things move forward. We get through, we're all going through now. But honestly, it's that. When you gift ahead of yourself to the service of another, it can't help but come around. It's the way it is. It's the way God created it to be. It's that circle that comes back around. And maybe that person that you gifted to isn't the one that's going to come back and say, thank you very much. It'll be somebody else another day, another way. And that is what's so wonderful about what I just witnessed you say, and everybody here on the show. Think about that, folks. And we got some comments coming in. I want you guys, all right. Sally is a very dear friend. Sally's also a musician and a songwriter and a wonderful singer. She does just about anybody voice you can think of, she sings. And she's an amazing lady. So thank you, Sally, for coming in with us. And what she said is such a lovely and bright gal. Interesting discussion, Jeff. Way to go. So thank you, Sally. Anybody, folks, if you are here listening, please use that chat. We want your questions, by the way, and we're almost to the half an hour in the show, which is hard to believe. And we still got some Q&A to do, but after that, we certainly want to take some questions. And Kelly's more than wide open to answer them for you as best she can. That said, moving forward, it's like, I just love that about you, Kelly. You know, that's genuine. That's genuine, and that's the way it's supposed to be. So thank you for being that servant soul. It is really so important. You know, we talk about life, and I certainly can list a whole bunch of successes in my life, but I can tell you there's been a whole bunch of, I call it the yo-yo life. It's been up and down and up and down. Or we could call it the roller coaster of life. Some people like to use the term, woo, we're going down and where everything's wonderful until we hit the pit. And then we're looking up, and there's only one way to look up, and that's at God, and say, well, okay, what next? Where do we go next? What would you consider to be greatest failure versus, you know, the lesson you've learned from that, if you'd like to share that?
Okay. Yeah, you know, I think back, you know, even to biblical times, when did God use a perfect person? Not one, right?
Never. Yeah, well, yes, I can't say one time.
Yeah, just one.
When he sent his son.
Murderers, stutterers, adulterers. I mean, none of us have been perfect. We've all fallen short. None of us never really being fully equipped, just kind of stepping out and stepping up. And what I found was that my identity was getting so lined up in things in the world, specifically being a wife, being a mom, where I was in my industry, the neighborhood I lived in, you know, all of that my identity was really getting very caught up in that. And it wasn't so much for what I would consider my ego, but really it had to be because
we know about that word ego.
Yeah, it swiftly got taken away from me, and it was devastating to me. It took a very long time to heal from that and say, okay, get to a point where I can say, I'm glad that happened. I never thought I would say that. It had to happen. And I'm a better person because of it. It's not the story that I ever wanted. It's not how, you know, I thought my life would ever be, but I'm a better person because of it. But who I was, you know, tied to in my identity in the world was so, so important to me. And when it all got taken away, it made me do a deep dive on who am I really? Where's my identity? So I say I forgive, but do I really forgive?
Yeah.
You know, just self-love and truth about your worth. And it was just really, it took a lot of healing for me to go through this process. And I don't know why it had to take as long as it did, or why it was as hard as it was for me, but it just did. And it got me to where I am today. And I know it's all going to be used for good. Again, it's an imperfect world. We're imperfect people. And you can look back and you can see where you fell short of the mistakes you made and what you would have done differently. But really learning from those things and never taking them into the future. So never taking perfectionism and criticism and, all of those things into the future. So the hardest lesson for me really was my divorce and all the things that happened around that, because I didn't want it to be my story. And it's still, pretty fresh and new, but I know it will be used for good. So I do call it a failure, because it was, 25 years of marriage is a long time, but also it will be used for good. I'm absolutely convinced of it.
Yeah, not to correct you, because I never would, but I don't think the day is going to come that you don't look at it as a failure. Honest to God, I have had many moments and days like that in my life. I mean, that roller coaster ride has been ongoing since I was a kid and went to the amusement park and loved to put my hands up in the air and go, hey, and go down that hill into that. And at the pit in that roller coaster was actually like a lagoon, and it was a floating boat. It would go splash, everybody get wet. And I'm talking about an old-fashioned wooden roller coaster in Hull, Massachusetts. That was just a huge, huge machine. But hitting the bottom like that and coming to a sudden and abrupt halt is kind of like life. All of a sudden, the blinders are off and the reality has struck. Oh, my goodness, what is happening here? And this is the true reveal of the layers that need to be peeled, because there are things in life that we've just kind of went along with because we thought they were all right. All right is what they say. And they weren't all right. But we believe they are because it's life, and we become ingrained in those habits of the way they are. But in reality, knock, 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 time to make a change. And it was for the better good of you, so that you can move forward in what God's plan is for you moving forward.
That was really a good exercise of, how do we see the past, and are we really being present in this moment, and are we creating an incredible future, having vision for, being creative about what's to come. And so, what happened in the past is not even the way that we remember it. So just really being careful about not getting stuck in that cycle of grief or anger or depression.
Very true. Very true.
Don't want to go there.
Yeah. Yeah, and a lot of people stay there in that they call it the old paradigm, where a lot of people get hung up in that thing. They're like in the spin dryer, just going around and around and around. And today's a little bit better, then tomorrow gets a little bit worse, and it's getting hotter by the moment. Yes. And the clothes aren't drying. It's kind of a funny way to look at it, but in reality, it's kind of true. We have to go through these experiences. The evolution and the advancement of the soul, the spirit that dwells within us, that's here to help us and protect us and guide us and move us forward in this existence, this shell of a human being, is all about that stuff.
That's right.
And we know biblically what Christ went through. People have said, what's going on today with all the riots and everything else. Well, you might want to think about what Jesus would say about that, and people say, well, I don't know why you I said, if you really, truly could think about it for a minute and focus on for a minute, from the top of our government right on through, and I ain't going to make this a political show because I promise I never would, but the bottom line is what's going on today in our country and in our world could change if they would turn that focus to that one thought about why did he come here? That said, folks, we're going to get right back to you. We've got to take a short 30-second break, and we'll be right back with you. So hang on, Kelly. We'll be right back on.
Okay.
Thank you for being here with us at the I Am Radio TV network. Have you ever thought about sharing your message to the world? Or perhaps you'd like to talk with us about being a guest on one of our many upcoming shows. Either way, reach out. and contact us at the I Am Radio TV Network at gmail.com. We look forward to hearing from you. And now, back to the show. Get ready to go. Interactive. And we're back. Let's continue this amazing discussion. My goodness, we've really covered the gambit, and I'm sure there's going to be a lot of people with a lot of questions. I would trust, and if not, they're going to get back to you on the replays. I know that. This is good stuff, Kelli. Thank you so much for being with us. Talking about health, that's something that's near and dear to my heart these days. People that know my backstory know that I was dealt a card of being told I had 6 to 12 months to live back in June, July 2017, and said, there's nothing we can do for you. Go home, get your affairs in order, my friend. And I said, I don't buy that. Sorry. I don't. And that was stage 4 advanced prostate cancer. And I said, there's only one person, there's only one entity that's going to click that ticket. I'm still on the train and I'm going to ride to the last stop. And when that stop gets here, I get off. And I'm not going to have any doctor tell me. No offense to the medical profession, but health is near and dear to my heart, as you well know, Kelli. It is something I concern myself with daily, not in a worry state, but I am constantly observant of how I feel today and what's going on. Health is critical in diet, exercise, state of mind, dear God, state of mind. If we don't keep this thing tuned up and in check, Zig Ziglar said, garbage in, garbage out. That's all it is. And that's the way you're going to be. And what did Jim Rohn say? You got to hang around with the 5 people you hang around with the most, or the 5 people you're going to be like. So you got to hang around with great people. You got to hang around with positive-minded people, spiritually-minded people. And above all, you've got to think about what you're consuming. And the level of consumption I'm talking about is not only in the mouth, and we all have this receptor that goes in here, the taste buds. I love chocolate cake. I happened to talk to a friend of mine about this earlier. So my dear wife made a special recipe with sweet potatoes and cocoa and so little sugar that you wouldn't believe that this was actually chocolate cake. And I thank her for that. God bless you, Emily, because she is keeping me well fed. And when I go to the cancer center, just they look at me and go, "You've gained weight." I said, "Oh, thank you very much." I said, "Well, but I don't want to. I want to lose a few pounds. I've gained too much weight from this good eating and exercise. I don't understand it." And they said, "Well, think yourself very blessed and lucky." I said, "Okay." Because most people coming in this door have lost so much weight, they wish they could get it back. And that puts tears in my eyes. So health is critical. And since you are a health coach, I thought we should touch on a few points. And I know you have some great health tips. So let's talk about those for a minute.
I would love to. Well, you certainly hit on many of them. We keep mentioning the mind and the mental part of it, and we can't separate the body, mind, and the spirit. So much of it starts with the mind, and there's so much research behind that. I mean, what you believe about your health growing up. If you believe I'm going to be well, I'm going to fight off viruses, I'm going to be healthy, I'm not going to get sick. I mean, if you grow up with that, we don't go to the doctor because we don't need medicine, or if you grow up with just really strong ideas about your health and natural ways to be healthy, those people tend to be healthier.
Be healthy. That's right.
But if you grow up in a family that, we always get ear infections, every year we get the flu, every year, they get sick, and all the kids get paraded to the doctor, and everyone in the family gets sick, and it goes down the line. By the time one gets healthy, then so much of it is in the mind. In fact, they've done research in buildings where people have worked that has had asbestos and mold and whatever neurotoxins and things that some people would get cancer, but some people wouldn't.
People don't, right?
Exposed to the same thing, the same levels of neurotoxins, but some get sick and cancer and some don't. And what they found was the difference was in the mindset. So just every day, taking time to set your mind on health, saying things like, I have a good relationship with food. I'm a lifetime athlete. I consume a healthy, nutritious diet. I drink water as my primary beverage. I mean, when you have these kind of affirmations that you're saying to yourself, you got your water. Yeah, I got my water. That you're saying to yourself, I have my water with I put little lemon drops or
There you go.
in it. So it starts with your mind. So you might have to change your beliefs. So if you're saying I'm a yo-yo dieter, or, I'm addicted to sugar, or, just kind of catch yourself, stop yourself and find a new way of saying that. So when you can use meditation with affirmation and visualization together, it is so powerful. So if you're not taking the time to meditate, start there. As you're meditating, come up with some powerful affirmations that you can say. I am smoke free. I walk every day after work. Even if you don't know what to say, I am breathing in life. I am exhaling. I am breathing in. I am breathing out. Just to say that, something to get yourself conscious, because more than 50% of what we do, closer to 75%, we do in a lower consciousness. So when's the last time you thought about shampooing your hair? You didn't. You just get in and you shampoo your hair.
It's a habit.
We do it. So
right.
By the time we're 30, most of our life is the habit that we have created. So we have this environment and this lifestyle, and it's just cookie cutter all the time. So you have to increase your consciousness if you're going to do something different. Set up cues, stack the things you want to do on the things you already do. So if every day you brush your teeth, which I hope we all do, and you want to take a multivitamin, you can say, after I brush my teeth, I take my multivitamin, then put your multivitamin there. So start to stack good things on top of each other, and you'll catch yourself becoming more conscious. So you might say, when I walk in the kitchen, I have a glass of water. And if you normally walk in the kitchen and grab, ice cream or chips or something else, eventually you'll walk in the kitchen and say, when I walk in the kitchen, I have a glass of water. So you have to disrupt what happens. So the mind, we could talk for hours on that. So that's the biggest thing. The second, which we spend a good percentage of our lifetime doing, is sleep. And wow, we can talk about hours about sleep, but man, even just to fall asleep, turn off the technology, get rid of the stimulation. So food, alcohol, sugar, all the things that people do before bed, that's when they're consuming all the junk, all the empty calories, all the sugar, all the caffeine, all the alcohol, and the just technology. So just have a state of leaving awake, where you're taking the time to wind down, use your lavender oils, use your, take a bubble bath with Epsom salt, put on some soothing music, do some meditating, make your room dark and cool, have comfortable bedding. And there's so many things you can do. You can certainly look up tips to sleep, but when you sleep, that's when the detox happens. That's when all the garbage from the day gets cleaned up. That's when your hormones get regulated. That's when the fat burning happens. So many good things happen when you sleep. And this is our natural design. We were designed to go to bed when it got dark and wake up when it got light. But we're just so off schedule. We got fluorescent lights. We've got, just stuff going on all the time that we got away from nature. So if you ever have to kind of stop and check in with yourself, a good question to ask is, how close am I to nature? Is the food I'm eating close to nature? I just love a simple Mediterranean style diet with a good protein, lots of, vegetables, a little bit of starchy carbs like a quinoa, and some healthy fats, just simple. Keep it to that, nothing processed. And you can just use that as a rule of thumb. Ask yourself, is this giving me life, or is this actually taking away from my body, that my body has to process this food that is more like plastic than it is real food? So the sleep is huge. Obviously, the nutrition, movement. We were designed to move every single day. So even just getting up and walk. There's so much connections to heart health, circulation, youthful aging, bone strength. I mean, just walking. You know, anyone should be able to get out who has two legs and just walk. And if you can't walk, get some fresh air. Go out and breathe. Move your arms. Move what you can. So though, I mean, we could spend hours talking about health, but the big things are your mind, your sleep, what goes in your body, your movement are the biggest ones. And you know what? They're all kindergarten tips. They're all things.
They are. They really are. They're the basics. They're the building blocks.
They are.
I'm going to say right now, I want to do this again after today, and I want to do a health related show.
Okay.
I'd love for you to come back on and let's really knock this right. Let's knock the ball out of the park. You've touched on some extremely valuable points. You know, the term couch potato. We as a society have been so used to it, and I'm still guilty of it because there's times because of a medicine that I'm taking, I don't feel great. I just think I want to sit and relax. I just want to put on something to take my mind away from it. And generally that's good stuff that I'll watch. But sometimes I might watch an old TV show or something just to get my mind away from the fact that I don't feel great. And that's due to cancer. That's what that is. But, you know, I make every attempt to walk a minimum of a mile a day. And sometimes I have a little struggle with that mile. And I want to push more than that mile. We have a rebounder, a 3-foot rebounder that is just you don't jump, you just bounce and shake the lymph system. I don't use it enough. I'm going to tell you right now, I don't because I need to become that creature of habit that will use it religiously. Okay, I just had a nice lunch. I'm going to go bounce it away, you know? And we do eat very healthy in my household. My wife and I eat very healthy. Could be possibly better, you know, but we do try. We eat some great stuff. But, you know, the middle of the grocery store is not great stuff. I don't want to use the word garbage, but wow, when you look at the chips and the dips and the soda pop and all that stuff, and we look at the obesity problem we have in this country, let alone what it does to the mindset, plus the habits it's creating, the yearning to have more. Everybody's walking around with a bottle of soda pop, you know, continuously, I got to have my soda pop. Why not a bottle of water? You know, as they say in England, water. Why don't we have that? And I say that in Boston too. We don't say ours either. But all of that said, you are so right, Kelly. You've hit, and I want everybody to get a pen and a piece of paper and write this down. 3 words. You said meditation, affirmation, and what was the third one?
Visualization.
Visualization.
I'll add one more. Celebration.
Celebration.
Celebrate. We need to have fun. We need to just be joy-filled. We need to, you know, celebrate every day, the small stuff. I have one friend who's in sales who I coach, and every time he makes a sale, he gets up and he does this happy dance. The dog is right there.
Do the happy dance.
And the dog dances now too. We need to celebrate because there's always going to be something else to do. We'll never, you know, complete our to-do list, but let's celebrate even the small things. Look for the smallest thing. I've got
so right.
Oil. Let me celebrate that.
So right. You know, the small things lead to the bigger things. You know, somebody said, well, I need to tackle that mountain. Well, what do you think? You're just going to jump to the top? No, you're going to do it one step at a time. And one step at a time is that little bite-sized piece that you're going to take to get yourself over the hurdle and break that habit. And it is so, so valuable when you find a way to do that. Now, I'm going to be honest with you. A lot of us don't have enough willpower to do it on our own, which is why you need to contact this lady right here. Contact Kelly and talk about this and invest in a great coach. And people say, well, I don't know if I can afford that. It isn't about affording. It's about investing in you, moi. Okay, you've got to do that. You've got to invest that in yourself. You've only got this one body, this one life. If anybody thinks they're going to do a turnaround here, they're wrong. You know, we don't start at the end of the game and start going backwards again to the womb. It doesn't happen. It doesn't happen. We're here, and as we age, and I tell you, I know there's a lot of things, and I don't wish, and have prayed on these things to change in my life, and they have, and some have not, for the reason that they didn't teach. I hadn't learned the lesson yet. But a lot of the things we learn in this life are all to do with perpetuating the spirit and the person we are. And God created this body to be healthy, not unhealthy. He created us with an ability to heal from within. Okay, the cells of our body are constantly healing. And Kelly's touching on some of the, as you said, the basics of this. But we are going to do another show, and we're going to be health related in this show. And you guys are you're going to be getting up and down. You're going to be doing what you're supposed to do. We're going to have lists. You're going to go through this. This lady is an amazing coach when it comes to health related. I can't wait because I need it too. So that is going to be fun. We don't have any other comments from anybody. I guess everybody's just thoroughly pleased, and that's okay. So when we're looking at moving forward, you talking to me last week, we talked about something that's near and dear to your heart. You're creating a new brand. You want to talk about that a little bit? Is there something you could share about that yet?
Sure. Yeah, it's still being revealed to me, and then part of it is me in the process of it. But I have been known as the Wellness Mompreneur for the last 10 years. My kids are about to be 19 and 20. My son will be 20 next month. And so, not to say that those mom years are over, but really they are raised, and I could always speak to that, and I have a heart for that for sure. I, just love those mamas who are contributing to their families and whatever it is, that talents that they have been given and passions they have been given and profits that they want to generate. But this new season that I am stepping into, my new brand is called, and it's the first time I'm saying this, oh my goodness, it's exciting to me, Intentionally Fabulous.
Yeah, those are the two words I was looking for. Oh.
Intentionally Fabulous. And this is about, we get now, we just get this moment. This is all we get. So we want to be intentional about what we do with the moments. Our time here is so short. It is just a puff of air. So we do want to be intentional with it. We don't want to waste it. We don't want to have regrets. We want to have thoughts about what we're going to do and plan things as best we can. There's always a plan B, sometimes a plan C, and so on, but at least be intentional about what it is we're going to do with the resources that we've been blessed with. And fabulous excites me because fabulous is different for everyone. No two people are designed the same. No two people have the same plan on their life. So you get to decide what your fabulous is, physically, emotionally, mentally, spiritually, professionally, in every area of your life. So there might be an area that's great, but an area that needs some work. And what I find is that a lot of women are like me, where you felt this greatness on the inside of you your whole life, and you were designed to do something incredible, but maybe it got derailed or delayed for whatever reason, and maybe not a bad reason, but you just have not come into that season yet. So I really look at things in seasons, and in this next season, say the next 12 weeks, what is it that you would like to be, do, have, become, give, and help you over the next 12 weeks and beyond to make that a present tense reality? If that would be the thing you believe is the most excellent, how together can we make that happen? So there will be one-on-one coaching, there will be group coaching, there'll be a community, there'll eventually be events when we can get back together, there'll be retreats. So just really looking to come around these women, support them, encourage them, just help them with healing, get them through depression, grief, anger, whatever life may have thrown them. I love men, but women amaze me. Some of the things that women have overcome and the hardness and the hardship just really speaks to my heart in this season, especially. So I'm excited about it.
Well, I couldn't tell you're excited. I mean, I don't know how anybody could tell that you're not excited. Wow. I'll tell you what, you talked to me about this a little bit last week, and those words really, I've been marinating those words. Fabulous. Intentionally fabulous. Because I have flipped it around and went fabulously intentional. But intentionally fabulous. In other words, I am fabulous intentionally. I am. And it really does a lot when you think about it and let it marinate in your mind a little bit. And after Kelli told me this last week, I said, where are you going from here? What are you thinking? You know, you've had a lot of reveals, you've had your ups and downs with marriage. Kids are older now, you know, they're out of the house, kind of, you know, you're kind of doing your thing now and looking at a whole new life, so to speak. But you're still you. And you're still carrying forward with you. What do you do with that? And that's, folks, when she said, intentionally fabulous. That's the new brand. So support this lady and sign up for the coaching and do the group sessions and be part of this. I can sense this one. And I'm a guy, and I can sense the fabulous that's going to happen in this. And, you know, knowing the caliber of people we have in Kyle Wilson's Inner Circle Mastermind, it's no doubt in my mind, just after being in there, a month now myself, and you've been in a lot longer, the how and the why you can attain these levels of success and find yourself in what we might say the pit, the downhill, in the lagoon of the roller coaster, and all of a sudden you're climbing back up the hill again. But you're doing it intentionally, you're doing it fabulously, and you're doing it with a focus on that you know you need to change. The peeling of the layers of the onion, they say. You're peeling back and you're saying, okay, the reveal is now. This was then, that was then, this is now. So what? Next, let's go. Let's go. We're climbing back up that hill on that roller coaster, and it's going to help and impact so many women. I can sense it. And I think so many men too. And I'm going to tell you why. Not that you're going to be coaching men, but the men that are in the lives of those women are going to be impacted by this as well.
And they, I think, want it for their women. I mean, don't you want your wife to be fabulous and confident and sexy? And
if they don't, there's a word called narcissist. And I don't want to point fingers because I don't know who I'm pointing them at. But, you know, men have got to learn that women have an equality. All right. I talked about this with a very dear friend of ours yesterday, Alenka, by the way, and we talked about the day, and you know, in her coaching and what she does, it's very woman orientated. And in the very beginning of talking to her, and she won't mind me saying this, by the way, and she's going to be on next Tuesday, so don't miss this show. I thought for a minute she was talking about my days of the 60s when we had the bra burning, women's lib, okay, where they said, enough of this sucker's off, and I'm going to just let it all hang out. And all of a sudden, women became this, I don't know who you are anymore. And there started to be a lot of divorce, a lot of problems in relationships. And I can appreciate the why. Because men have had this attitude for years, like, I'm all that in a bag of chips and you do what I tell you. No, it isn't that way. It's a two-way street, and it's a joint effort when you come together. And you've got to each have that identity in order to be able to come together and be a great relationship together.
Right.
And when you don't have that, and you say, how do you know this, Jeff? I had to learn this. Kelli. Kelly's not coached me yet, guys. She's not coached me. But she has in another respect, because the hour conversation we had last week, hour plus, was very back and forth for both of us. It was just amazing. It was amazing. Hence, she's here today in a debut of what is to be intentionally fabulous, ladies. So please take advantage of that. You're going to want to be involved in that. Right there, you can reach Kelli at kellicalabrese.com. And do not hesitate. And it's all, you know, you're getting firsthand knowledge of this. So I would jump on this bandwagon real quick. Get in touch with Kelli. That's what I'm going to say. And you'll be glad you did. I promise you that. From a man's point of view, I'm going to tell you, men, be happy to allow your woman, your wife, and not for the possession part when I say woman, but your wife, your partner, to just make that investment in herself for you as well, because it's a two-way street. It's a combination. And if you're a single woman and you're looking to be in a concerted, wonderful, beautiful relationship, then you too get involved in this, because this is fantastic. The reveal that's going to be, and I love when you say you peel back the layers on the onion. Wow, because that's the sweetest part of the onion.
That's right.
And I do a little bit of cooking, so I know that.
Good.
Other than life itself, gosh, I'll tell you, Kelli, we have had a fantastic show. What else would you like to share with folks before we close this up? Because I could go on and on and on, and we are going to have that other show. You and I are going to have another conversation, and if you, oh my goodness, we're just gonna get it out there. I love it.
I would say that all of you have amazing potential. Nothing in the past matters. It starts now. Be in the moment, be present. Imagine a future that you could create better than you could ask, think, or imagine. So much is possible for you. Don't let yourself be held back by any limiting beliefs from anything that's happened in the past. One breath at a time. Surround yourself by great people. Take care of your body. Have your quiet time. Really press into our Creator. He gave you creativity, and everything you need is according to His plan and His riches. So I, suggest that this is called the I Am Show, the I Am TV network, and that's really what it's all about. What is our purpose? To bring the kingdom of heaven to earth.
Amen.
We're all here as vessels, and use yourself for good. The ideal is to let love win every day in all you do. That's the barometer. Is love winning?
Amen. Every day in every way, folks. Kelli, thank you. That is so valuable, impactful. People, folks, just focus on that. It is so important today what's going on in our world, what Kelli has just said. It was so eloquently said too, Kelli. I want to thank you so very much for being with us today. Folks, get in touch with Kelli at kellicalabrese.com. Do not hesitate. You're going to wish that you did if you don't, because this show, get in right in the bottom floor right now. She's just putting this all together, and you're going to be so happy with the outcome. I can promise you that. So I want to say thank you very much for being with us today on the I Am Radio TV network. This is the Let's Get Real show. I am Jeffrey Miller, and this is Kelli Calabrese, and we will return. Next week, we've got an amazing show on Tuesday. There'll be some other shows in between. We've got Alenka Cullinan, and if you have not heard about Alenka Cullinan, you're going to. She is amazing. She's also a very close friend of Kelli's, and also part of our Inner Circle Mastermind with Mr. Kyle Wilson. Hey, Kyle. So thank you, everybody. On behalf of the network, I am Jeffrey Miller, and this is Kelli, and we wish you an amazing, blessed day. Keep the focus on love. I think that's a big message to wrap us up. Kelli, hang right in there with me. I'm going to end broadcast. Folks, thanks so much. We'll talk to you soon. Catch it on the rerun. If you haven't seen it, if you're watching this on rerun, you're going to wish you were here live. So don't miss the next one. Thanks so much, everybody. Bye-bye for now.
Thank you.